Our entire system is on the brink of collapse, and everyone knows it. To keep us all compliant, the AI surveillance state has just turned the dial up to 11. In one of these examples, your car is now watching you, and if you don't comply, it will take control. There are some new safety features that can literally override your steering, decide when you're distracted, and while taking control, hand that data over to whoever is asking for it. And as this is rolling out, we've got gentlemen like Larry Ellison, one of the top 4 richest people on the planet, and one of the more powerful men in tech. He's in the process of buying TikTok and merging it with Oracle AI's surveillance empire. Now, all of this is on the back of news spanning places like the EU, the UK, and where I'm from, Canada, regarding new digital control laws, with every move you make being tracked, scored, and analyzed. So, why the sudden push? What has changed? Well, we are on the precipice of massive currency devaluation. We've seen plenty over the past years, but nothing stops this train. Even your average normie is waking up to it. Things are feeling eerily similar to 1920s Germany, as you'll see in this episode. Now, to pull off this massive wealth confiscation, governments will need absolute control of their population. Many see the writing on the wall and are beginning to flee in a variety of ways, but they may be missing the real solution. So stick around. We'll show you some of these shocking new features coming to a car near you, chat about Ellison's TikTok move and what it really means, and how all of these government actions add up to the most coordinated surveillance push we've ever seen, and what you can do to stop it. Stick around, drop a like on the video, and buckle up because this is going to be a killer episode. I am Ben with the BTC Sessions. This is your weekly session. Now, I want to welcome to the show my co-host with the most, subbing in for Nathan this week, Mr. Gary Mahmood of Bitcoin Mentor. Oh, Gary, how are you?
Oh, hello, my fellow prole. I'm looking forward to our double plus good show today.
Well, welcome. That seemed to be an interesting piece of reading material you had in front of you there.
Yes, I believe this is currently approved by the state. And of course, I would never read anything that wasn't approved by the state. So good day to you.
Excellent. Excellent. Well, let's dive into how you feeling? You keeping up with the latest on these interesting new driving features being rolled out? And I sent this to you earlier. Did you get to?
It's crazy. I watched it. Yeah, I mean, it already happens to a degree. I have a 2021 Honda Passport that'll slow down automatically or stop if a car slows down in front of me. But this is even above and beyond that. I mean, I hate that, but this will just make you slow down or stop for all sorts of reasons.
Yeah, so there's a video that I want to show here. And actually, I myself and Lisa, my wife, earlier were looking at this, and we were just screaming about, like, why would anybody want this? So let's take a listen to this wonderful new feature that is coming to a car near you, and probably likely will be the only option that you have in the future.
Yo, we're in a Toyota 2025, and we noticed that on the screen, you can't use navigation unless you pay a subscription fee for it, right? Which is insane. Like, you can't just hook your phone up and use navigation on your phone. That's free. So we looked at the subscription fees, and it's $15 a month. It's also $15 a month to stream music to the actual screen in your car. Okay, together it's $25 a month. Then I also saw somebody on a forum say it's $8 a month to be able to see your oil level and your tire pressure. The car's like 40 grand. Oh yeah, remote start. You have to literally pay a subscription fee to get remote start. The vehicle is capable of all these things. What the fuck, reality?
So I have a Toyota product. I needed to go to the dealership. They gave me a loaner. With the loaner, she's giving me instructions on how to start the car and all that. Honestly, it just was overwhelming and overstimulating. It wasn't just a regular norm for this 2025 situation. And it had cameras in it. And I don't mean just in it like for your safety. It had cameras to where it's watching you drive to make sure you're doing what you're supposed to do. So if you touch your phone, the car's going to decelerate, do all this different stuff. And also, if it's tracking other cars, everything around you, so the car automatically decelerates, does this, does that. And that seemed interesting enough. But when I connected a device for the Bluetooth, it kept disconnecting every time I got in the car. And she was stating, oh, that's because it's based on subscription. And when she told me all the things that were a part of said subscription, mind you, the Toyota product that I'm talking about, they're about over $70K for the vehicle I was in, brand new, for what I'm looking at. So you're telling me what I paid for my car, right? My vehicle. And it's on the same with that, and you think I'm going to trade my car in, which still has buttons that I can press for my sensory self and feel and do all the things I need to do, and you think I'm going to trade it in for a car that's literally watching me when we're already in that kind of state of where you're being supervised or being watched all the time, and you think I want that, when I know for a fact a lot of these cars are autonomous and they're saying they're not, and they are. So in the event you don't want to drive your car somewhere and they're telling you to turn it in, that car will be able to literally turn itself in. It was about over a decade ago, I was in a Ford renting it. And the car, if I went over the speed limit, the car literally decelerated on its own. So I know for a fact these cars can drive themselves if they don't want you to go somewhere you won't. So you better be careful. If I were you, I would invest in these vintage cars from the 1950s.
I mean, yeah, this is definitely coming to a car near you. It's I already see people in the chat. It's giving you will own nothing and you will be happy, right? Like all the like buy your item and then pay to use it. What is going on, Gary?
Yeah, it's $10 a month for your left turn signal and $5 a month for your right turn signal. I'm not sure why it's a difference in price, but that's just what it is. Yeah, man. You know, when I was growing up, I thought, how cool would it be if future cars could do this stuff? But in my mind, future car was Knight Rider, not Minority Report. Like, where's my turbo boost? And, you know, Kit that talks to me and goes, hits the bad guys with his open door. Like, that's the car I want.
Yeah.
But instead we get this. Yeah. I mean, of course, the subscription fee is crazy, but that's not even the worst of it. The worst of it is it being able to just stop or decelerate or whatever if you are doing things that are not approved by the state. And of course, it's only a matter of time before maybe you have opinions that are not approved by the state, or maybe you're driving and getting roadhead not approved by the state. I mean, these are important things that we now have to deal with.
100%. And I mean, those cameras will capture those events for you. And I'm sure those could never be used against you.
Never. No,
Never.
it's nuts. It really is a Minority Report. Like when, if you've seen the movie, you know, Tom Cruise in the car, like, oh, they're going to catch him. The state comes and decelerates the car and just brings it off the road by remote control. It's coming.
Yeah, exactly. And I mean, the crazy thing is that we're, you know, to continue on down this line is that we're getting to a point where we won't even be able to talk about it. And what I'm talking about here is this is in the maple syrup capital of the world, Canada. And there's something that was a bill that was introduced on October 1st, and it's very draconian in its language, and it echoes what's going on in the UK. It's in and around control of speech online. And so, yeah, that would bring to the table things like being fined or arrested for posting opinions online, not inciting violence, but just, you know, things that could be interpreted as, you know, as hate speech or whatever. You know, you don't like a policy, that's hate speech.
Of course.
Yeah, of course. And so this is talking about what this looks like from the perspective of if somebody is saying things that they deem as a threat, can we just cut them off? And so let's take a look at this.
Now on to the present bill. I am concerned, as I say, by the following sections. 15.1 and 15.2 give the minister the unprecedented, incredible power to kick any private Canadian citizen off the internet, to cut off their phone line, to turn off their cell phone. That is the plain language summary, but I will quote now the bill in its legalese. If there is reasonable grounds to believe that it is necessary to do so to secure the Canadian telecommunication system against any threat, the minister may prohibit a telecommunication service provider from providing any service to the specified person. Now, perhaps this might make sense to do in an extreme circumstance if a person is trying to cause our satellites to crash or to jam military radar. But this section does not use language about extreme threats of physical damage or threats to national security. It says any threat. And as far as I can tell, given the Liberals' incautious and bombastic use of terms like misinformation, that being any information they don't like, or existential threat, for instance, the member from Milton called the leader of my party an existential threat to our democracy, which is, of course, bananas. So given their incautious and bombastic use of these phrases, it seems to me that the industry minister could deem any speech she doesn't like any threat, and then kick that person off the internet. This section reaches Chinese Communist Party levels of government overreach.
And I won't go through the rest of it because he just kind of dives into a little bit more. But again, very real and quite possibly ready to be passed bill that effectively says if you don't say things, or if you say things we don't like, then 1, we could fine you, 2, we could arrest you, 3, we could remove your internet privilege. He goes on to say that you could also have a gag order regarding your removal from the internet so that you couldn't even talk about it or risk a fine or imprisonment. It's crazy. It's insane the levels that this has already gotten to. And again, we've seen some of it in the UK. Gary, did you see the video of the gentleman that got sentenced to 20 months in prison in the UK?
I think I did.
Yeah.
Yes.
He commented on a Facebook post.
Yes.
On immigration policy. And
yes, that's right. And the judge said something to the effect of like, I can only conclude that you were inciting violence. I'm like, what? How? That's your only conclusion. There's no other possibility. He could have just been commenting on something.
There can be no question.
That's right.
Yeah,
that's right. He said there can be no question. I have a lot of questions.
Yeah. It's staggering to watch. And that's just kind of the norm now. Like that's, UK, it's like, well, yeah, you said something that made people sad. And so you need to go into a box now.
It's nuts. And like the guy pointed out, these politicians aren't even trying to hide it anymore. They're not even couching it in, national defense or, someone please think of the children. It's just any reason that we come up with, you're gone.
Yeah.
It's like that great meme of, oh God, directly to jail. You say the wrong thing, to jail. You dance wrong, to jail.
Yeah. I'm seeing in the chat now, somebody's saying in the UK, that sort of gag order has been the norm for a little while. I guess they're called D notices. That's great. I mean, wow. Yeah, and there's plenty more examples of stuff that's currently going on. So, this has been sidestepped for a little bit, but there was the chat control thing in the EU proposed, and this is basically saying like, hey, we want to force any encrypted messenger to backdoor it so we can access it at any point. Signal actually threatened to leave the EU, and they were really worried about Germany had been kind of pushing against it, and it looked like Germany was going to turn things around and maybe say it was fine. Now, it does say currently that the chat control law has delayed this. But I mean, Gary, you and I both know what a delay means. It means we'll put this on the back burner. We'll let everything kind of blow over, get people distracted by something else, and then low key we'll just shove it through, right?
Yep, that's usually how this stuff works. I worked in politics for 6 years. That's how it works. And I would just say, I think we've talked about this before. It's just sad that of all countries in Europe, Germany is the one that is the last bastion holding up free speech. Germany.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, it's wild. The irony there is wild. Now, another thing that I touched on in the intro here is Larry Ellison. So I think he's the 4th richest person on the planet, and he's with Oracle and Oracle AI. They do all kinds of crazy surveillance stuff, but he's going to be looks like he's going to be a huge owner of TikTok. And, you know, I don't think that your average TikTok user is particularly concerned about surveillance, but based on Larry's comments here regarding AI and surveillance, they should be. I want to play this clip. This is from back in January. It's him talking about AI surveillance systems. And it's a little chilling, even though he tries to frame it in a, oh, well, you know, it's for your protection kind of thing. We all know how this stuff will be used in the future, but let's take a listen.
The police will be on their best behavior because we're constantly recording, watching and recording everything that's going on. Citizens will be on their best behavior because we're constantly recording and reporting everything that's going on. And it's unimpeachable. The cars have cameras on them. I think we have a squad car here someplace. But those kind of applications using AI, if we can use AI, and we're using AI to monitor the video. So if that altercation that occurred in Memphis, the chief of police would be immediately notified. It's not people that are looking at those cameras, it's AI that's looking at the camera. No, you can't do this. It would be like a shooting. That's going to be immediately, that's going to be an event that's immediately, an alarm is going to go off, it's going to be, and we're going to have supervision. In other words, every police officer is going to be supervised at all times. And the supervision will, and if there's a problem, AI will report the problem and report it to the appropriate person, whether it's the sheriff or the chief or whomever we need to take control of the situation. We have, same thing. We have drones. We just, if there's something going on in a shopping center, and I'll stop. A drone goes out there, get there way faster than a police car. There's no reason for, by the way, high-speed chases. You shouldn't have high-speed chases between cars. You just have a drone follow the car. I mean, it's very, very simple.
This is horrifying to me. Again, it's kind of like he's trying to frame it as this will be great. Everybody's going to be so safe. But like, he's not doing a very good job of my dystopian Black Mirror mind going, oh my God. Like, did you ever see the what was it? It was like the dogs, the robot dogs that would chase people. I think it was in black and white, the episode too, but it was horrific.
Oh, no, I haven't. I'm sorry to say.
That one was, if you get the chance, go back. Well, I mean, don't even watch it because every Black Mirror episode ends and you just feel horrible. But I can assure you, it's this kind of stuff where it's like, yeah, an alarm will go off and the appropriate person will be told, or a drone will just zoom in and take care of it. It's scary stuff. And I mean, we've been talking about the EU and the UK and Canada, but like, Palantir has a pretty cushy government contract here. And if you think that Palantir isn't spying on the American populace, I have another thing for you. Even just here, Palantir software now underpins immigration enforcement operations. This is the most chilling line I've ever heard. Predictive policing initiatives and interagency intelligence sharing system. Gary, what was that movie you were just referencing?
What was that movie? There was some movie where they talked. Oh yeah, that one.
Literally about pre-crime. If you're statistically likely to commit a crime, they predict it and jail you before you ever commit the crime in this movie.
Well, that's a relief.
Yeah, thank God. But yeah, I mean, if you haven't seen Minority Report, basically Tom Cruise gets indicated in a future crime and then is on the run from the law after having enforced the pre-crime unit for ages. And yeah, it's just, but when I see Palantir basically predictive policing initiatives, that's scary to me. That's something different.
Yeah, man. And he talks about trying to have cameras on the cops and everything. And I'll try to, be as generous as possible. I'm cool with that. Have cameras on cops and all that. Have cameras on the people who are making and enforcing laws. Great. I'm all about that. But we all know it doesn't stop there. We all know that that's really won't be the place where the cameras are being used. They're going to be used on us in all the ways, in all the worst ways you can imagine. And it's just a matter of time.
Yeah. Yeah, exactly. Now, there's one other fun thing that came to my attention earlier today. Just, again, falling into the panopticon absolute control type thing. Now, this is meant to currently be, I think, just descriptive. And I'm going to need people to go take a peek and confirm that this is an actual thing. But I tried looking it up, and it seems to be a standard that is being voluntarily rolled out. But it would appear, I think this is from the UK. This is a prepackaged sandwich with a carbon score. And it says, eating this uses 8.1% of your daily dietary carbon allowance. And so I was like, even you were like, that cannot be real. But I found this from foodmanufacture.co.uk, which of course it's the UK. But they're talking about the problem with carbon labeling and its solution. And the solution that they propose is not, first of all, they don't see the problem as, why are we giving a carbon score to like our sustenance?
No, that's not the problem.
And the solution is let's not do that. They're just talking about, like, how can we be more accurate with how much carbon you're actually, they're like, well, we don't know for sure. Like, it may be off. Maybe we can get better at that. But I mean, same kind of labeling system, like this sandwich required 12.5% of your daily dietary carbon emissions. And again, in looking up some stuff, I found something where it said, yes, some sandwich packages do include carbon allowance percentage on their labels. This practice is emerging in the UK, particularly among food manufacturers aiming to promote sustainable consumption by showing the product's carbon footprint as a percentage of an individual's daily dietary carbon allowance. And the thing that immediately comes up for me is Keir Starmer in the UK is rolling out the digital ID. And he also, in a recent interview, basically said that, yes, this will be, your digital ID will end up also being tied to payments. And so the next logical step that I think would be coming down the line, or one of them, would be your digital ID is linked to your payments, is linked to your carbon allowance. And you go to a sandwich and, sorry, my friend, this sandwich would put you over your daily carbon allowance. You're not allowed to purchase this with your CBDC, unfortunately. It's crazy that people said we were crazy for saying these things. And they still say that, and it's all happening in front of us right now.
Yeah, I view this all as just a matter of time. It's not like this won't happen. It's just a matter of when. And I don't know what the timeline is. And yeah, when you first showed it to me, I'm like, that can't be real. That's got to be Photoshopped. That seems like a Fox News sketch about mocking the left. But at the same time, I do view that as an inevitability, because it's that entire kind of socialist mindset of everything is a zero-sum game. And we're not individual human beings. We are just consuming creatures, and there's only a set amount of stuff to consume, and there's only this set finite world, and each person or number on their record book is only allowed a certain amount of consumption. Of course, those in charge being more equal than others. But that's just the problem with collectivism in general. Like, it's all this collective mindset where the unit is far more important, than the individual.
Yeah. It's a scary world. There's a lot going on. Obviously, we've been talking about a lot of the negatives that we're seeing popping up. It can be deflating to look at a lot of that stuff. However, there are solutions. There are freedom technologies out there. Obviously, this is a Bitcoin channel. And we want to talk about some of those solutions. Now we're going to go to a quick little break here. But on the other side of it, I want to talk about one more instance of something horrific happening. And it's a nation state saying that they will literally come to your house and search for your Bitcoin hardware wallet to confiscate your money if you owe them. So we're going to talk about where that's happening, who said it, all of it. But we're also going to talk about some solutions to that and to some of these other things that we've seen in regards to free speech, in regards to being able to use your money as you please, being able to save and keep it away from grubby little government fingers coming and kicking in your door and taking your money. So we're going to chat about a lot of that stuff on the other side. And then later on in the episode, we need to chat about the Bitcoin price, because I don't know, October is not living up to its name, my friend. I don't know about it.
It's all easy, man. Big picture. I'm just sitting back with a drink. I'm not worried at all, man.
Perfect. Well, we'll chat about that too. We're going to say a quick little shout out to our sponsors here before we move on. But if you're new to the show, of course, make sure you drop a like on the video. Subscribe if you're not already. We do this once a week, give you the rundown on the latest news. And we also do plenty more here, panel shows and tutorials, and make sure that you know how to properly secure your Bitcoin. So we'll be back in just 1 minute, and we'll talk about what nation is coming for your Bitcoin. Or which one first? Bitcoin Well is the best place to be buying and selling Bitcoin in Canada and the US. And now with Bitcoin Well Infinite, it's also the best place to be making large buys at their OTC desk of over $50,000. Their white glove service gives you fast transactions, no slippage, and the lowest fees. You can scan the QR code on the screen or simply head to bitcoinwell.com/BTC Sessions to sign up today. And you can share your own personalized referral link to earn commissions. CoinKite has been in the game for years, creating hands down the best and most secure hardware when it comes to securing your Bitcoin. The Cold Card Q is an absolute powerhouse and my daily driver, and it's ideal for newcomers and advanced users alike. The Tap Signer gives you a low-cost, user-friendly option for those just getting started or for convenience when traveling. You can head to coinkite.com and use code BTC Sessions for discounts, or simply scan the QR code on the screen to get started right away. DEBIFI is the best and easiest way to borrow against your Bitcoin in a non-custodial way. Funds are held in a multisig escrow where you hold a key, and the platform allows for excellent hardware like the Cold Card Mark IV and the Q. You have access to flexible conditions, the best rates, and institutional grade liquidity. If you're looking to make use of your capital, don't sell your Bitcoin, borrow against it. You can head over to DEBIFI.com to check them out, or simply scan the QR code on the screen. All right, we are back in, and we want to talk about a nation state that says they're going to come for your Bitcoin and take it out of your diamond hands in your own home, which is pretty scary. And so I'm going to bring up this article here. The South Korea ramps up crypto seizures, will target cold wallets. This is coming from their National Tax Service. So South Korea's National Tax Service, or the NTS, is expanding its crackdown on tax evasion, warning that even crypto assets stored in cold wallets will be subject to seizure. According to a report from a local news outlet, an NTS official said the agency is prepared to conduct home searches and confiscate hard drives and cold wallet devices if it suspects that tax delinquents are hiding their crypto assets offline. Quote, we analyze tax delinquents, coin transaction history through crypto tracking programs, and if there is suspicion of offline concealment, we will conduct home searches and seizures. Yeah, I suppose this is a given that this would be happening eventually. But nonetheless, it's still wild to hear like, hey, we're going to come kick in your door and take your cold card. Right.
Yeah, but I think you're right. It's an inevitability. And right now they're saying it's just for tax delinquents. Okay, whatever. Aside from my opinions of the income tax aside, but it's not going to stop there. And it's not going to stop with South Korea, because this is a fundamental threat to every government's fiat money printer. And it's going to be framed as some sort of national security measure. The Bitcoin hoarders are hurting the economy and hurting our national security. You're going to 6302 this thing, and stuff is going to be seized. So no, it's just a matter of when. Frankly, I'm surprised governments have let it go this far for this long. I have to assume it's just a result of incompetence and not being educated enough of what exactly they're dealing with. But I don't see how they allow this to go on. There will be a fight coming, and you got to do your best to try to protect yourself from the state.
Yeah. I want to chat in this particular case, somebody, and it could be the South Korean government, but it also could just be, somebody trying to steal money from you. I want to chat a little bit about some of the solutions that people can have to at least mitigate that risk, and have a degree of plausible deniability. One of the greatest things that an individual can do is obtain their Bitcoin in a private way, right? Like if you go on an exchange and you give up your ID and all of that, there is a record that you've bought Bitcoin at some point. And even privacy measures down the line, it doesn't get rid of that record of you having bought Bitcoin. So if you have resources available to you, and that could be, peer-to-peer local meetup, that could, if you're doing anything locally for cash with an individual, that's like A+. If you can earn Bitcoin, A+. There are other options. If you don't have somebody directly that you can buy off of, you can always go to peer-to-peer online exchanges that don't require KYC. We're big fans of HODLHODL. That's a great place where it links you up with another individual. And there's like an escrow system so that nobody ever has full control over the Bitcoin. It's like there's multiple keys involved, and multiple parties have to agree in order to get it to where it needs to be. And then there's a fiat payment involved that is in no way linked to your Bitcoin payment. So it just looks like I sent Gary a wire transfer for whatever, and there's no indication that Bitcoin was involved, and that exchanges hands. So that's one option. Again, other examples of peer-to-peer exchanges outside of HODLHODL might be something like RoboSats or Bisq, or I think Peach in the EU is an option. I haven't personally used it, but I've heard of it.
Take your word for it.
Yeah. So if anybody watching from the EU has used Peach, let us know in the chat. I'm always curious. Even like here in Canada, we've got Bitcoin Well, and they have like a cash voucher system linked through their ATMs. And so they're able to remain compliant, and ensure that one customer only gets below the daily allotted threshold, but you're not required to give ID. And that's kind of the important part. So you get it straight into self-custody. I've done a video on that. So again, another way to do it. Obtaining Bitcoin is one way, is going to give you the biggest jumping off point. But, there's other things you can do. I think coin joining is important, and helpful when you go to use Bitcoin later, that somebody can't look back and see where it came from. They don't get to see insights into your whole stack after the fact. But I think security wise, maybe we should touch on that. Gary, have you ever used a passphrase on a wallet before?
Yes, I have.
Indeed. Now
I'm going to tell you what it is.
Yeah. Can you tell us? That there? Passphrases are very useful, and if people are watching that are unfamiliar with the passphrase, basically, when you set up a Bitcoin wallet, you've got a backup, right? You've got a seed phrase, and it's 12 words, 24 words. That is a very sensitive piece of information. Somebody gets a hold of that, they have the keys to your money. However, you can have an additional word that you add.
Or words.
Words, yeah, really any phrase, anything that you want, numbers, letters, characters, doesn't matter. And what that does is, in combination with your 12-word backup or 24-word backup, this additional word is completely hidden. Nobody knows it exists. And actually, any combination of digits will generate a completely new hidden wallet alongside your words. And if you enter it incorrectly, there's no indication you've done it incorrectly. It just leads to a new empty wallet. And so this is something that could be a tool for some plausible deniability. You have your 12 words, and on the 12-word seed phrase, that wallet, maybe there's a decoy amount. Maybe you have a few $1,000 sitting there.
Mm-hmm.
But unbeknownst to the person trying to get your Bitcoin, you also have a hidden passphrase wallet where the bulk of the money is actually stored. So you can feasibly say like, hey, like, listen, here's the seed. Look, this is all I have. Mm-hmm. You've got a secondary backup of the seed somewhere else. The attacker, government or otherwise, leaves. And then you go get the other seed and you use your passphrase to recover the real funds.
Yeah.
So, I mean, useful tool. Like, the one thing it doesn't hedge against is actual physical coercion.
And that's the fundamental problem with Bitcoin ultimately. I mean, Bitcoin is such a wonderful, wonderful tool. It just leaps and bounds above anything we've had before. The government can't, or anybody can't stop you from sending a transaction. Nobody can actually stop it. They can't freeze your Bitcoin bank account because there is no Bitcoin bank account. You know, they can't say, well, you said the wrong thing. We're going to not let you send it to this person, do this transaction. You can do the transactions. But the one thing Bitcoin can't prevent is the state or somebody else coming in and say, we're going to put you in a cage and we're going to hit you with things until you give up these phrases or words or whatever. That's still human, just base level stuff that I'm sorry, we don't have a solution for yet. Maybe someday, but this is at least an improvement.
Yeah, it is. It is. And I mean, this is a situation where somebody comes in and they could physically coerce you, and then you could comply because you have the 12 words and then you know the passphrase. And so you can access it. If you don't want the ability to comply, then you might be looking at something like multisig. And that's where you have multiple keys. You require a number of keys to unlock the money. And maybe you have access to one of them at your home if you choose. But the other keys are distributed elsewhere geographically. Sometimes it might be you got to get on a plane and go to a different country to get one of these other keys. And at that point, like, you know, you're going to have to they're going to have to put in some real elbow grease to get that other key, right? Or, you know, like especially if it's jurisdictionally in another place, it's like, well, if they hold you, what are they going to do? Like, are they going to contact the other government and say like, hey, you're also going to need to go and physically coerce this family member in another jurisdiction to give up this thing? Like, it becomes much more of an ordeal to deal with something like that. And so, you know, it's worth looking into. I think as a Bitcoin user that is self-custodying, if you're in a single sig, like a single hardware wallet securing your Bitcoin, a lot of people will be pretty okay with that. However, if you see the writing on the wall, if all of a sudden people that are sitting on exchanges are starting to get their assets seized, it's time to move to a multisig. It's time to get those keys distributed. That will be your canary in the coal mine to get your shit together fast. The tools are there, but it's also maybe the canary in the coal mine to get the hell out of Dodge and move.
Yeah, 100%. And, you know, and the funny thing is, we were talking earlier about all the tech that we can use to try to better secure ourselves. And the irony with Bitcoin that I'm always amused by is some of the best tech you can use is the most low tech stuff of human beings. Like when we save our recovery seed, we're not taking a picture of it. You're not going to save it online. You're going to get yourself like a quill and parchment and write it down. And there are even I've done the thing where I'm going to stamp my seed into metal just in case the house burns down or whatever. That's certainly a great way to prevent it. But then you also think, well, gosh, what if somebody wants to come in with a metal detector and they find it? And there is a company I played with, Micro Seed, where you can stamp your recovery seed into like nylon, like a little piece of nylon. So you could stick that in a plastic baggie, buried in the yard. X marks the spot on your map, and even a metal detector is not going to find it. Or you can get it through the airport without anybody seeing it. But a lot of the time, some of like the lowest tech solutions can be the way to go, because at that point you're just relying on dumb luck or torture to find the stuff.
Yeah. There's definitely a multitude of tools out there as pertains to protecting your Bitcoin, and you're just gonna have to kind of, gauge the risk. And like on one hand, you don't want to complicate something so much that you lock yourself and your loved ones out.
100%.
But on the other hand, if shit starts hitting the fan, you also want to be familiar with some of those tools and maybe have to pull the trigger on utilizing them at that point too.
Yes.
So at the bare minimum, I'd say to everybody, experiment and learn, and then settle on not only your comfort level, but your family's comfort level. Are they going to be able to get access to it if something happens to you? And then have the contingencies plan if things get more serious.
Yes. And I think we've talked about it before, especially with Bitcoin Mentor and you specifically, the way people lose their seeds and their stack more often than not is personal human error. Yeah. They forget something, they make a simple mistake, they take a picture of it somewhere, they try to get too cute with their setup. And it's great to learn and how to do better setups, but this should be taken slowly, deliberately, really understand what you're doing, and then proceed.
Yeah, 100%. And if anybody's new to the show, I always pop this up here, but we've got a page on the website, btcsessions.ca/learn. And on that page, there's a QR code too. You can just scan it and bookmark it for later. But there's just, we've kind of pre-selected a number of tutorial videos from the channel. Like, how do you get a wallet on your phone? How do you obtain Bitcoin in a variety of different ways? How do you secure it with hardware? And then as you go further down the page, there's some more advanced options that can help you kind of secure things, as we're talking about with things like multisig and privacy measures, all that kind of stuff. So worth looking at. Please do scan or just go to the URL and bookmark it and just start working your way through it. If you can get through those videos, even if you take like a few months to do it or like a year to do it, you're going to be so far ahead of your average Bitcoiner. It's going to be astounding. So start to learn the tools, get curious, play around, and you will be laughing when it comes to personal security. Now, I did want to quickly touch on a couple of these other positive things regarding like Bitcoin and security and just ways to promising things in and around the world of self-sovereignty and freedom tech. So I was just in Nashville for something called the Global Bitcoin Summit, but basically it brings together Bitcoin developers, educators, and human rights defenders from around the globe. And it was an incredible event, 150 something people, maybe more, from I think by now 70 different countries. Like, it's crazy the different people that are there. And some of the people I got to interact with are just incredible. Like, people that have literally toppled dictators, people that have had their lives threatened, had there's a lady from Iran, and she protests the government there by women taking off their headscarves and everything like that. She now lives in New York. The story from her, they literally sent men with AK-47s to stand outside of her apartment to just gun her down in the street. And luckily they got arrested beforehand. But like, this is the level of people that are at this thing. And I taught her to set up her first Bitcoin wallet, which was crazy. It was so, again, you just get such a feeling of imposter syndrome. But nonetheless, we've been doing this quarterly webinar for people that are in places like this where their freedom is on the line, and Bitcoin is as a lifeline for them, and they're learning how to use it. And it's really, really cool. And one of the things in terms of freedom tech that popped up while at this event was another piece of kind of free speech freedom tech, and that is BitChat. Now, I just recorded a video on this, but it's pretty neat. Have you heard much about this, Gary?
I know a little bit about it. I've never actually used it, but it allows you to send messages to people directly in your given geographical area without going through some third-party interwebs things.
Yeah, exactly. Pretty much. Like, so one of the things that'll happen in certain jurisdictions when there's a protest is the government will shut off the internet. And so it prevents people from being able to coordinate and figure out what's going on. It cuts off communications. And so BitChat is meant to be just a piece of software you download on your phone, and it uses your Bluetooth to create a mesh network. So I can't remember what the distance is that you need to be to create a link, but once you've linked to one person in your vicinity, that extends your reach to the next person equally far from them and equally far from them. So you create this mesh linking of all of the devices in a given area. So with a protest, you now have like a global encrypted chat between everybody there. You can create private rooms. You can privately message and DM individuals in the group, and all of it without any internet. So it's really cool. And so like at the event here down in Nashville, they said, oh, everybody download BitChat and open it up. And you just see the room populate full of people that are in the vicinity, and you can kind of chat on the spot. And yeah, it's really, really cool. And actually, they were talking during a presentation and they said, actually, now what we're starting to notice is that we can preemptively intuit where there's about to be a public uprising, because instances of downloads of BitChat spike before the protest, which is crazy, but really, really cool. So, I mean, what do you think about this, Gary?
I mean, I think it's wonderful. It's the long game of human history. You find a way to get around authoritarianism. Authoritarianism finds a way to push you back and close in on you. And then you find a new way around it. It's like wars. We'll start by hitting somebody with a stick. Then it makes a shield. Then you get a rock to break the shield. Then now they have armor. I mean, this is great for now. The state will come around with something to try to stop it or reduce its effectiveness, and then somebody come up with another idea to get around that.
Yeah, 100%. And I mean, we have those that want to push back against this stuff. Again, we saw Signal pushing back against the EU chat control stuff. But we also, in the Bitcoin space, we have Bitcoiners that are putting together stuff and proposing it to the ones that also push back. So what I'm referring to is Callie with Cashew. He actually put together a thing that is a proof of concept for Cashew, which is like eCash on Bitcoin, perfectly private. There's trade-offs there, but again, for medium to small amounts, it's super useful. And he put together a proof of concept of Cashew in Signal. And he made a full website for it with like a video demo and everything of like what Cashew in Signal would look like, how it would pop up. There's your type in the number of sats, confirm the payment, it goes off, and then the person in the chat can hit receive and claim it. And I mean, he's done a really good job on presenting it, and basically is making the case to Signal to add it with a full website. And then furthermore, like has the ability to be able to share the information and tag Signal in it in various platforms and basically make the case for them to add it. And I think this is actually a pretty good way of making initiatives for people to roll out stuff like this. I think it's pretty forward thinking. Like it's a nice little layout and everything. Anyways, I think this is super exciting. You got, Jack sharing it. Signal should use Bitcoin. So, I love the privacy tech. I love the options that are starting to come about for that. Of course, in the realm of censorship resistant speech, of course, we've got, Primal is just an example of one client for Noster, but Noster is, when it comes to censorship resistance, it may end up being the last bastion of of being able to speak your mind. Who knows? There's a lot of stuff coming up that is very exciting. I'm big on the a lot of the multisig stuff too, the mini script stuff that Anchor Watch is doing and that NUNCHUK is doing. Again, those guys are legendary. I love NUNCHUK and their championing of freedom. Hats off to them for giving me a hand during the trucker protest here in Canada. They basically told the Canadian government to go fuck themselves. And I will forever appreciate them for that. So
yeah, man.
Yeah. So nonetheless, lots of stuff for people to learn about. Again, check out the Bitcoiner Zero to Hero page. Super important. It's great to talk about current events, but if you're not learning and you're not practicing self-custody and leveling up as a Bitcoiner, you're not getting the full benefit of Bitcoin. So yeah.
And if I may just finish up to just piggyback on what you said, we presented a lot of really dark stuff at the beginning of this, but there is hope. There really is. And Bitcoin, I believe, is that hope. And I think that's the bet we're all making, because if not for Bitcoin, I'd be completely black-pilled. Like, what are we doing? This just all sucks. The state's going to take over everything, and it's going to be an authoritarian, totalitarian panopticon. And what choice do we have? They're going to kill who they want in whatever way. But the bet, at least for me, is aside from just number go up, which is certainly nice. I'm not going to poo-poo getting rich. Is that hopefully there is a future where the state just can't keep printing money to pay for all of its wars, all of its tyranny on people domestically. They actually have to make choices, and they actually have to find a way in real time to pay for the things they want, and not just, we'll just print the money and pay it off into the future. So the bet is Bitcoin really takes that power away from them, and it's not going to end wars. It's not going to end authoritarian people doing authoritarian things, but it's going to hopefully greatly reduce their ability to do that. I believe that's the future. I hope that's the future. That's my bet, because otherwise I'm just really black-pilled.
Yeah, 100%. And I think we're seeing people building towards that future. It's just at the same time we have people building towards the panopticon, and it's an arms race. And if you can't fight back, if you leave your self-defense tools and you don't know how to use them. So level up, my friends. But we're going to take one more little breather. Gary, I know that as good Bitcoiners, we shouldn't pay too much attention to the price, but I think we need to have a little chat about a seemingly bipolar Uptober. And also, what in the hell is going on with gold and silver and the victory lap they're doing versus Bitcoin? Seemingly a little lackluster the past week or two, and in the face of the opposite out of the legacy stores of value. So we're going to chat about that in just a little moment here. We'll give a quick shout out to our sponsors. But everybody, again, if you're joining us first time, you're enjoying the conversation, please do drop a like on the video. And if you're not already subscribed, make sure you do. We'll be back in 1 minute. Looking for a simple and secure way to manage your Bitcoin on mobile? AQUA Wallet has you covered. It's user-friendly and puts you in full control of your Bitcoin with secure self-custody. AQUA also supports Lightning and Liquid Network, making fast, cheap Bitcoin payments and asset transfers easier than ever. Plus, it even supports stablecoins, giving you ultimate flexibility. Built on open source code, AQUA is transparent, trustworthy, and perfect for beginner and pros alike. Ready to upgrade your Bitcoin experience? Click the link in the show notes or scan the QR code on the screen now to download AQUA Wallet today. Securing your Bitcoin doesn't have to be complicated or invasive. With NUNCHUK's HONEYBADGER plan, you get state-of-the-art multisig with built-in inheritance planning and no KYC required. NUNCHUK is trusted by users to secure billions of dollars in Bitcoin. The HONEYBADGER plan offers 204 assisted multisig, guiding you step by step on mobile or desktop. It works seamlessly with hardware wallets like TapSigner, Coldcard, Jade, and plenty of others, so you're always in control. Plus, with non-KYC inheritance planning, you can ensure your Bitcoin goes to your loved ones. No private info needed. Take control of your Bitcoin today. Click the link in the show notes or scan the QR code on the screen to check out the HONEYBADGER plan. Gary, I was promised October. It's sideways Tober at best, my friend.
I wish I had literally a pina colada in hand right now to show you visually how not concerned at all I am.
Yeah, that's fair. And I mean, again, if we take a look, like, let's remember that we had all-time highs as of October 6th, in and around there. It is the 16th, so 10 days ago. But just prior to that, we were very upset because we were sub 110K, and that would have been the 26th. So another 10 days before that. And so, you know, like, we're doing all right. It's just, I think the thing that bothers me is any time that this asshole gets to temporarily make an ill-advised victory lap.
He's your nemesis, man.
Yeah, I do have a framed tweet of his.
I know.
From 2020. So, but nonetheless, Peter Schiff, it's not just a de-dollarization trade, but a de-Bitcoinization trade. Bitcoin has failed the test as a variable alternative to the US dollar or digital gold. Hodlers are in denial, and their refusal to accept reality will cost them dearly. Now, I just want to take a moment here to go back in time. If you join me, with my shelf here. All right, we're gonna read this tweet. I've had this on my shelf for 5 years. I'm waiting for it to fully realize, like, it's like a fine wine. I don't know when it will be perfectly aged, but at some point it will. It's already done pretty well, but I'm not ready to crack it open just yet. So this is Peter Schiff, January 6th of 2020. For those Bitcoin bugs excited about Bitcoin's 4% rally in 2020, think about this. Hashtag gold is also up by the same percentage this year, only with significantly less downside risk. If this is the best rally Bitcoin can muster, how will it ever hit 50K, let alone 1 million? So again, this is already aged quite well. But yeah, I'm not quite ready to crack open this bottle of fine wine yet. One of these days I will. But nonetheless, yeah, Peter Schiff always does his victory laps and cherry picks when he does them. But it's not often that he gets to. So, we'll give him this one.
I'm fine. He's been doing this for so long. I feel like you could just go through Twitter and find like 20 of these that he's done over the past 15 years. And he's a smart guy. I liked Peter Schiff a lot when he was doing, his reporting from Occupy Wall Street and Tea Party. Like, he is like us in that he fundamentally gets the problem. He gets it. He's with us, and he hates the problem of the government money printer. He's with us on that. I don't know what his game is, because at this point he has to know how foolish he's going to look after making these posts. Like, he's been wrong long term every single time. I don't know what his game is. Some like kayfabe wrestling thing. Like, he's playing a character. I don't know, but it's something.
Yeah, it is something. I mean, there seems to be some major, like, there's obviously some major FOMO in and around gold right now. So, like, this is Australia. People lined up down the block to buy gold right now. Like, it's pretty wild to see. But I mean, maybe this could also be an indicator. This actually reminds me of when I was working at an OTC desk in late 2017, like a Bitcoin / crypto exchange here in Calgary. And in and around, this was like the top in 2017, and we had lineups like crazy. We had people shoulder to shoulder in this little room with stacks of cash.
Wow.
Just stacks of cash. And the only reason that people weren't getting rolled was everybody was so concerned about their own stack of cash. They weren't busy looking at everybody else's. But they would just come in and buy like tens of thousands of dollars worth of whatever shitcoin went up the most that day.
Wow.
And the irony of, gold super, like blasting through new all-time highs regularly, and then you see lineups down the block, and it's like that meme where it's like the two desks, and there's a lineup of like, Bitcoin at all-time highs, and the desk that says like Bitcoin, like Bitcoin at $1,000, and there's nobody there.
Yeah,
it's very much that. So human psychology is very interesting.
No, totally. And it just recency bias, what the price was a few weeks ago. I mean, I bought a little bit more on the current dip. And if you told me, half a year ago that 107,000 would be like a dip, like, crazy. It's just whatever. And as far as the gold is concerned, I mean, look, I'm not a finance bro. I'm not a crypto bro. There's probably people that know this stuff far better than I do. I know there are people that know this stuff far better than I do, but I can read how many times have we seen gold front run Bitcoin by 2 or 3 months, and then Bitcoin catches up and blasts way past it. Now, does that mean history always repeats itself 100% of the time? Not necessarily, but I think it's happened enough where it's a pretty good probability it's going to happen this way again.
Yeah. And the other thing that makes me think of this, we've been talking the whole show how the actions of governments right now indicate like, hey, we need to get some control over the populace. People are starting to get mad over the cost of groceries, starting to get the cost of living. Nobody can afford a home. Nobody's ever going to retire. Nobody knows what to do, and nobody knows where to point fingers. And so it makes sense that in the face of what's likely about to happen, where it's just going to get worse, that they would want additional control, and that the market would be really difficult to, it would be very difficult to properly price things. And there's a great book, an example of this, and it's called When Money Dies. And it basically walks through hyperinflation in Weimar Germany in the 1920s. And the actions of the people then, how the government handled things, how the people handled things, and like the absolute confusion during that clusterfuck of time. And one of the most interesting charts that I saw was actually regarding the price of gold during that time. And rather than it going straight up, it did over time go up, but it was volatile as hell because nobody knew how to price anything. Nobody understood what was going on. And the crazy thing about it too is externally to Germany, other currencies like Austria, other places were having hyperinflation as well. But you had examples of other countries where they weren't hyperinflating. The problem was, communication in 1920s, that word wouldn't have gone far. So nobody internally to the country knew how to price anything or what was going on or why everything was out of whack. But now we're kind of experiencing that on a global level. Even though we have different currencies, all of them are printing. All of them are debasing the currency, and the cost of living everywhere on the planet continues to go up. And so I think that we at some point, and maybe currently, are experiencing a flavor of this, where it's like we don't know what's worth anything. How do we price anything? Because you're using a measuring stick that's going like that, mostly going like this. But you get these whipsaws, and so like you see the price of gold here, and it would skyrocket and then dump and skyrocket and dump. But over time, it would just go higher and higher. And I think because historically gold has played a safe haven role, especially in examples like this over the long term, the knee-jerk reaction and the average person and countries and central banks are navigating to gold because of that reason. And I think Bitcoin being so new is also going to go on this path, but it's going to take some examples of gold's not really being there to prove once again why Bitcoin was necessary.
I think that's a fair point. Yeah, show all the ways that Bitcoin is gold with none of the downsides of gold.
Yeah. It's it's staggering, but nonetheless, I mean, Gary, do you have any words of wisdom for our individuals watching that are saying, you know, I'm sad that we're not as high as gold? You know, what's the best course of action in your opinion?
It's the same thing any Bitcoiner would say: stay humble, stack sats. This is a long-term thing. I got a friend of mine who I turned on to Bitcoin, and he's following it. I finally bought some like a week ago, and he's following it like hour by hour. I'm like, dude, you got to step back. This is not an hour to hour or day to day or week to week or even month to month thing. This is a 5-year, 10-year, time horizon, like Michael Saylor talks about. I'm not smart enough to predict what these prices are going to be like week to week or month to month, and how much influence politics or trade or, unwinding trade. I don't understand a lot of these things, and I don't know how much influence they have on the price, but I do know, if you step back and look, the debt levels of our government here in the US and Canadian government, every government around the world, is unsustainable. The only choice they have is to print. There's no other choice. They have to do it. So the price is going to go up in these fiat dollars, and it's going to go up a lot, inevitably, long term. And I mean, I could throw out numbers like in 5 years, it'll be $500,000 a coin. In 8 to 10 years, you're looking at $1 million per coin. I'm just tossing these. I'm pulling these out of my butt. I could be wrong in some way. Maybe I'm too high, too low. As far as hyperinflation, I don't know. Is that going to come tomorrow? I don't think so. There's people who've been, talking about the dangers of that for years. Like Ron Paul, all praise be unto him. I love me some Ron Paul. He's been talking about the dangers of inflation forever. And I don't think we've experienced hyperinflation yet. I do think that to some degree that is coming. Is it coming next week? Is it coming in 50 or 60 years? I don't know the timeline. I couldn't tell you, but it's a mathematical inevitability based on the numbers. It has to happen. When? I don't know.
Yeah, it's wild, and the U.S. dollar would be the last domino to fall.
Yeah,
there's an exorbitant privilege that comes with being the world reserve currency, and the smaller ones are going to fall first. You're going to place like Lebanon, places like Venezuela and Argentina and all that is, despite the fact that the U.S. for some reason is buying billions of dollars worth of Argentine pesos.
Forget about that for now. And listen to my privilege talking about it, like we haven't seen hyperinflation yet. I say that from the comfort of New Jersey. People around the world experience hyperinflation of their currencies every day.
Yeah.
So it's here. It's going to happen. And like you said, as we all say, the dollar is the least dirty shirt in the laundry. It'll eventually come.
Yeah, exactly. Well, I mean, if we can impart advice on the people here, as Gary said, stay humble, stack those sats, but don't just stack sats. You got to stack your skills. You got to make sure you know how to secure your Bitcoin with a level head and not panic. So again, use the tools. We refer to the Learn page. I'll put up a clip at the end that'll tell you all about it, and you can head over there and make sure that you level up. And if you do need some help, we've got myself, we've got Gary, we've got Nathan, who's always on the show with me, and a whole team over at Bitcoin Mentor that can also help you through that if you need a little bit of additional hand-holding. You can find links for them as well on the very same Learn page. So Gary, thanks for joining me. We got to give a shout out to our boy Nathan, who is currently at the Canadian Bitcoin Conference out in Montreal. But I was really glad that you could come out and hang out with me here.
Yeah, Nathan. And thank you to Nathan for helping to encourage me to get my camera set up better. It's going to be better in the future shows, but this is better than it has been previously. We're working on it. We're getting there.
I mean, you're pretty all the time, Gary. So
that's what I was fishing for. That's it. That's why I do the show.
Awesome. All right, everybody. Thank you guys for being here. Again, drop a like on the video. Make sure you're subscribed, and we will see you guys in the coming week. Make sure you check out all the other stuff that we put out this week, and we'll see you really soon. Anyways, I'm Ben. This was Gary, and this was your weekly session. See you guys later. Hey, you. Yes, you watching the Bitcoin price movements and the latest exciting news. It's awesome to stay informed, but the real power of Bitcoin comes from taking control. Don't just watch, take action. Head over to btcsessions.ca/learn for free step-by-step tutorials that guide you through every major skill you need to know, plus full video playlists for deeper dives on any topic you like. And if you're ready for the ultimate fast track, scroll to the bottom and check out bitcoinmentor.io for premium one-on-one experience with my team of Bitcoin experts to ensure you get it right the first time. Don't wait. Secure your Bitcoin future today. Hit the link in the show notes or scan the QR code on the screen.